Hi guys! Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I will be doing a video that was highly requested in the comment section of my previous video, and that was a stats and extracurriculars video. I brought in my lovely sister Natalie here today because we ended up having sort of different stats and extracurriculars, and we got into the same schools. So I think it would be interesting for you guys to sort of compare the differences in our applications. So first we're going to be talking about the different classes that we took, just because of the way the video is going to go. It makes the most sense to talk about that first. So our freshman year, we both took really similar schedules. We took like the unweighted math, science required classes, and we actually both took a free period the entire year, our freshman year, which was extremely uncommon, but we used that time to do like an independent study project, and we learned coding during that time. We also both ended up taking honors Mandarin, which is actually really uncommon at our school because usually at our school you can only take weighted classes as an upperclassman, but we were able to test into that and we got straight A's. Sophomore year we took 2 APs, so I took AP Mandarin and AP Computer Science, and then I took honors chemistry, regular English because that was the only one that was available, and then regular history, and I took regular math. So there's actually an honors math version that was available, but I ended up taking the regular one just because I wasn't sure if I could handle the workload. So I decided, like, for the sake of my mental health and just like my time, I would do like the regular route, and that honestly worked out. It's not really something I regret because instead of studying for that class, I was able to devote it to like extracurriculars that I was like more passionate and interested in. Our junior year, we took a lot of weighted classes. So I took AP Calc AB, AP Environmental Science, honors English, honors physics, honors statistics, and then I ended up taking regular US history instead of AP just because, like I said, like the workload, mental health, and also I think that history wasn't really one of the interests or passions that I was sort of like painting for the college application process, and I just felt like my time could be better devoted to extracurriculars that actually lined up with my interests.
So I ended up taking pretty much the same classes with the exception of taking AP Bio instead of APES. I think that's just because our interests kind of diverged in that way, since Diana is very interested in like sustainability. She is a minimalist, and I'm more interested in like studying medicine, so I thought that AP Bio is a better fit for me. And I think also important to note is that we took a free period just because we thought it would be more productive.
We used it to sleep. Senior year, Natalie and I actually decided to graduate a semester early, so that meant that our schedule kind of changed and it was a little bit unconventional just because we had to take like 2 English classes at the same time to fulfill our graduation requirements. I would say the reason that we graduated early was just because we felt like we had exhausted the course load at our school because our school only offers so many AP classes, and we just felt like we could learn better being out in the real world. So I ended up taking AP English Literature, and then I took regular English as well. I took civics and econ because those are graduation requirements, and then I took AP Calc BC, AP Bio, and then instead of taking a free period, I took AP Art History because I felt like some of the graduation requirements were unweighted, and I still wanted to make sure that colleges saw that I could handle the academic rigor of multiple weighted classes. It was tough.
Instead of taking AP Bio, since I already took that as a junior, I ended up taking AP Computer Science Principles because I thought that could add to the narrative of being interested in like computer science.
Also, we got straight A's. Something to note, I think, is that like we obviously didn't take all of the honors and AP classes that were available to us. I think our school has like 13 to 15 APs per year. We ended up taking like 8, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, we still got into some really selective schools, so I think that goes to show how like test scores and APs are not the only thing that matter in the college process. And just in my experience, sometimes instead of taking like another AP class, your time could be better spent focused on like extracurriculars and things that are making like an impact in the community. So like I said, Natalie and I got straight A's. So our unweighted GPAs were both 4.0s, and then the way our school does like the weighted GPA is that honors and AP classes both count as 5s. So my weighted GPA was 4.489, and Natalie got the same. So next we're going to be talking about test scores. So Natalie and I both took the ACT instead of the SAT. Our school offered the PSAT and the pre-ACT, and we both did better on the ACT, I think just because of like the way that the structure and the timing works out. Yeah, we just ended up both taking the ACT. So I took the ACT twice. The first time I went in cold and I got a 35. I thought I could do better, but the second time I also did not study and I got a 35, and I was like, that's it, I'm done, it's good enough. I ended up getting like a super score of a 36. Yeah.
I took the ACT once and I got a 36.
So for APs, Natalie and I both took 2 sophomore years. So we took AP Mandarin and we both took AP Computer Science Java. I got 4s on both of those, and that was definitely disappointing, especially because my Mandarin teacher came up to me after the test scores came out and she was like, Diana, what happened? Yeah.
And I took both of those tests as well, and I got 5s on both of them.
So junior year, we ended up taking a lot of AP tests, even if we didn't take like the AP class that corresponded with it. So I took AP Calc AB, AP Environmental Science, AP English Language, and AP Statistics. I got 5s on AP Calc, APS, and English Language, and I got a 4 on Statistics.
I took basically the same tests, except instead of the APES test, I took AP Bio, and I got 5s on AP Calc AB, AP Bio, and the AP English Language test, but I also got a 4 on the AP Stats.
Something I'd recommend for people who have studied for the ACT or the SAT writing section is, even if your school doesn't offer the English language and composition test, I would recommend just taking it if you have the resources to, just because the writing section is really similar to the ACT and SAT writing portions, because it's just like writing an essay. So I didn't even take like the AP English language and composition class, but I still was able to do well on that test.
And I think that even though we both got 4s on the AP Stats test, I think it was okay just because our school didn't offer AP Stats and we were only able to take up to honors stats.
Senior year, we only took like a semester of like AP classes because we graduated early and we just decided not to take AP tests our senior year. So Natalie and I both applied as CS majors, so for a lot of schools they require or strongly like recommend STEM majors to submit like a subject test that's math and science. So for math, I took the math 2 subject test and I got a 770, and that was after doing like self-studying, and I bought like a Barron's textbook, which I can link below, and basically it just had a dozen subject tests that I just practiced through on the weekends, and yeah, that's how I was able to get it there.
I also took the math 2 subject test and I got an 800.
And then for the science, I took physics and I self-studied for that one. I got a 700, which is definitely not like the best score. I just decided like my time was better spent for extracurriculars, so I just submitted it as is. I only submitted it to the UCs though. I didn't submit it to any of the like ones through the Common App.
So I took the Bio M subject test and I got an 800. So I think one thing to note about the subject tests is that to do well, beyond knowing the material that's going to be on the test, you have to be very familiar with the test itself. So timing the types of questions and how the questions are asked is all very important. When I was first prepping for the Math 2 subject test, I took just like a regular practice test and I got a 650, which is obviously not a super strong test score. In order to improve our test scores, I think it definitely helped that we got the book of practice tests and we did practice tests basically every weekend leading up to the test, and I think like mastering the test was definitely very important to get a good score.
As many of you know, the college application process is very random and it's super competitive, so at this point, even if you have a 4.0 or like a 1600, that doesn't guarantee you a spot in a super selective school, and unfortunately that's how it is. However, that leaves you opportunity to make the most out of your extracurriculars and make a difference in your community. Yeah, so now for the spicy part of this, we're gonna be talking about our activities and extracurriculars. We both applied as CS majors, so a lot of the activities and things were geared towards like STEM related activities. So the Common App lets you have like 10 spots, so I will just go through this. The first one I talked about was like minimalism. Like Natalie said, I am a minimalist and that is a big part of my identity, and I have like a website about that, and I started like a photo project, so I talked about that. So next, Natalie and I both worked as like website developers for our city's newspaper. I think that was something that definitely helped our application because it showed like the initiative that we had. Next, Natalie and I both did like an internship, and we worked for SF startup, and that was another thing that we did. So junior and senior year, Natalie and I were both co-presidents of our school's first entrepreneurship related club. For work, my sophomore through senior year, I was in a professional a cappella group. We did paid gigs and stuff like that, and my senior year I was actually the program director, so I think that really helped with my application to have like paid work. Also, it showed like development to like a leadership roles. For the activities, they give you 10, and even if you don't think that you have 10 activities, you can be really strategic about it, and I think it's better to fill all 10 activities because you just want colleges to have the most knowledge about who you are as an applicant.
The same goes for the UC app.
So like the next thing that we did our sophomore year and junior year, it was the musical. It's not really something that seems like that cohesive with our narrative, but it was something that we did and we dedicated some time to it. You can also put in things that you did over the summer. So for our freshman and junior year, we both did a coding camp over the summer, and that was learning like iOS and web development. Another thing that we did outside of school was hackathons. So our junior and senior year, we went to a lot of hackathons, and those are like 12 to 24-hour events where basically students get together and they code apps or websites that are addressing social issues, and we actually did pretty well at those, so that was helpful to have. And then we were both musicians, so we served on our church's worship team. I think that was good because it just showed like being well-rounded and also giving back to the community, and that was also cohesive because we did it all the way from freshman to senior year. And then lastly, for my junior summer, I went to an entrepreneurship camp at MAT, and that was LaunchX, shout out LaunchX, and I learned over 4 weeks to make a business. That I think was cool to put into my application because it showed not just technology, but also like entrepreneurship.
So our applications were definitely a little bit different. In terms of the activities, I had a couple activities that Diana didn't have. Outside of doing paid work as part of the professional a cappella group, which I only did for 1 year, I was a Mandarin and biology and math tutor for 3 years, starting from sophomore year to senior year. So I self-advertised and did tutoring, and I definitely think that that was like an activity that was really helpful actually. For me, tutoring was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. And also I played lacrosse throughout high school, and I played varsity, which Diana did not do.
So as you can see, Natalie and I had pretty different applications. Also, our stats were different. Like Natalie objectively had better test scores than me, but we ended up getting into the same college. So I think that just goes to show how test scores aren't everything. Another thing that I was just gonna talk about quickly is that the Common App actually has a section for like honors and awards. And I think Natalie and I were kind of strategic in our application in that we were able to reflect some of our extracurriculars that we did through the honors and awards that we had gotten. Something that we didn't include in our activity section was that we both participated in like a 14-week-long startup incubator program over the summer. We were able to convey that through our honors and awards because we ended up getting finalists for the like business that we came up with. And then also for honors and awards, we ended up not just participating in hackathons, but we actually ended up winning a lot of them. That showed that not only were we going out there and doing things outside of school related to technology, but we were excelling in that field. I think that definitely helped our application. So before we end the video, I just want to convey some of the reflections that I've come up with over this college application process now that we're sort of towards the end of it. Something that I think is important to note is having a narrative is really, really important in the college application process. Computer science is definitely super on the rise, and there's like a lot of computer science students. Natalie and I were able to differentiate ourselves because of like the narratives that we painted. Not only were we doing activities like hackathons and we had the skills for coding, but we were able to apply it to the real world. I'm definitely not a college admissions expert, but from what I've seen, it seems like colleges are not just interested in recruiting a well-rounded individual, but they're interested in putting together a well-rounded class, and that's why I think a narrative is so important. I don't really have their admission files, but I'm sure they were like, oh, minimalist coder who's also an entrepreneur. Being able to have that really specific identity, I think, really helped. So that was about it for our video. Definitely let me know if you have any questions or ideas for other videos. Like, comment, subscribe.
Leave any questions that you have down below.
Yeah, definitely.
Making a Q&A video.
Yeah, thank you to whoever gave me that idea. You know who you are. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching.